Hey, my name is Christian, but you can call me Lo. If you've ever seen my face before, it was probably on my other channel, at Call Me Lo, where I talk about tech, entrepreneurship, and lifestyle travel. In that channel, we discuss big strategy in business, and in this one, we talk about minute details. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about how to create an AI chat widget. We're going to be using ChatGPT, but trained on your company's data. You can train it to sound and act exactly as you want, much like new companies like Chatbase and Finny are doing with their customers. And this is going to be broken into actually 3 primary sections. The first one, we're going to be developing the chat widget. The second 2, we're going to be discussing 2 different ways to actually train ChatGPT on your data. We'll discuss a little bit of who should pick each one. And then of course, we'll get into how to do both of them. And for those of you who, can't manage to get this working or who just don't wanna, of course, I am leaving source code in the description below. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to, we need to go ChatGPT API reference, Google that. You're going to find this page right here, API reference. And then we go scroll down to chat here. And basically, I'm a developer, but this channel is not geared towards developers, so I assume that you don't know exactly what to copy here. So you're just going to copy the whole page. I mean, if you know better what to copy or how to make this API call, great. You can do that, but if you don't, you can pretty much just scroll down to, you don't want to copy fine tuning because that's something different. So all the way down to just above fine tuning right there. We'll just copy everything that's there. We're going to go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to say here is a page out of the ChatGPT API docs. And it actually gives a lot of irrelevant information, which, like I said, if you know what you're doing, you can go down to what you really need, which is this actually right here. So what we're going to do is it's just going to explain what's happening here. And so I'm going to write, please write a very simple chat widget. When I say simple, I've done this a couple of times. The first time it did it really, really well. And the second time it keeps adding more complexity to the project. So I'm just going to say max 2 files. Chat widget that makes a ChatGPT API call using the GPT 3.5 turbo model. I want to be able to include the chat widget with a single line of code in the website's header. Let's see. Let's leave it at that. We'll go ahead and we'll continue. We'll adjust things. But while that's generating, let's head on over to our server here. This is GPTAIWriter.loassistance.com. It's just one of my test websites. There's really nothing here. This is WordPress Divi theme, if you know it. And then we go over to here. If you don't know how to set up a server, I'm recording very soon. I'm going to be recording a tutorial on how I manage all of my servers using RunCloud. If you're watching this more than a week after it's published, then you'll probably see that in the description below. But I'm not going to go through in this how to set up your server because that would just make this way too long. We're going to go ahead and we're in the root of this website, GPTAIWriter.loassistance.com. We're going to create a new folder called, we'll just call it chat. Doesn't really matter what it's called. Oh, not blog, chat. And then we are going to just do whatever ChatGPT tells us to do. So I told it to make it very simple, 2 lines or 2 files. It doesn't look like, oh, it looks like it's doing it entirely in JavaScript. I wanted it to do it in PHP. Can I get it in PHP and JavaScript? I'm just making command. No, I want this coding language, please. Okay, so let's just go ahead and listen to whatever it says. We're going to create a new file called chatgpt.php. And then the next thing that we're going to do, you can see right here that it's telling us that we need to have our OpenAI API key. So if you should already have an OpenAI account because you've got a ChatGPT account. But if you don't, you go over to OpenAI, you click Get Started. It's really easy. If you already have an account, you just click on Login. You log in, obviously. If you want to get to ChatGPT, you click on this button. If you want to get to the API, you click on this button. And then over here, you're going to go down below, View API Keys, create a new secret key. Give it a name or not. It doesn't really matter. A name helps you keep track of which one is doing what, because you can't actually look at them again. But I'm going to delete this one directly after I record this, so don't try to use my API key. And then, sorry, then we got to go to, I don't actually have to copy that yet, not until I copy this. So where are we? It's got my PHP code. So we've got chatgpt.php. You can do it in, you can listen to ChatGPT if you want and do it in just pure JavaScript if you prefer to do it that way. But I'm more comfortable with PHP. So I'm going to paste this here. That's my PHP code. And then I'm going to copy this API key. I'm going to slap it right there. Save that file. We're going to go back to ChatGPT, and it's going to give us chatgpt.js. New file, chatgpt.js. And then we're going to copy this one here. And this includes the HTML that we need to actually show it on the website. I'm going to go right there. Perfect. And then we've got to include it on the website. We're going to have to change these, make sure that we're changing these, but we'll go to GPT-AI. Now, once you get here to the back end of your website, I'm using Divi theme. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it using WordPress Divi theme. This is theoretically the safest way to do it when you have this particular setup, but you should be able to do this on pretty much any website, on any server that runs PHP. But the process is going to look a little bit different. A lot of content management systems, Squarespace, Wix, they all have places where you can add header code. It's the same place you'd probably add like your Google Analytics or something like that. But here I can only show you how to do it here, because if I were to show you an exhaustive list of how to do it everywhere, it would just be too long. So we're going to paste this in here, and we're going to put in our actual path to the ChatGPT. It's in a folder. If you remember, this is the root, and then it's inside chat. This is in the same place. We're going to paste that there, and let's just see if that works right out of the box. Actually, really quick before we do that, RunCloud, like I mentioned earlier, I use RunCloud to manage all of my servers, but it does this weird thing sometimes when I'm editing files on a live website, where I have to, it does this weird permissions thing. So I have to go down here, tools. So if you're using RunCloud like I am, if I'd known this earlier, it would have saved me hours and hours and hours of time. I have no idea why it happens. Okay, so now we're going to go to the homepage and just see if it works straight out of the box. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And it does not. It rarely does. So, moment of truth. Basically, we've got this right here. We're going to go test, type, boom. Do you know anything about little assistants? What? Okay, it's just making stuff up now. Is an AI-powered virtual assistant developed by OpenAI. That is not what Lil Assistance is. Okay, let's continue here. So maybe it thinks it is Lil Assistance. I don't know. So I want it to be a little bit more like Intercom. If you've ever used Intercom before, you know that there's like a little button. It's something like if you go into lilassistance.com and you click on this, something like this, right, is what Intercom does. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some adjustments here. We're going to go, let's say we have, I believe we don't actually need this because it's, let me see. What happens if I just get rid of this? Yeah, it's still there because it's actually calling the CSS elsewhere. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. We've got this chatgpt.js. I'm gonna start a new chat here. This is what I like to do. Say I have chatgpt.js and chatgpt.php, which is right there, and chatgpt.css. Oops, don't know why I did that. Edit with code. I just needed to know what it is. So everything is working as expected, but I want it styled a bit more like the chat widget intercom, where I have to click on a circle chat icon to open the widget. Okay, so it's going to tell me, hopefully, what to change here in the chatgpt.css. Okay, so first thing it changes is chatgpt.css. We're going to go ahead and copy this over to chatgpt.css. So we've got our new styling. And it's not going to give us all of the JavaScript code, so let's just make these adjustments as it's writing them. Document.event, this is in the change, so I think this goes right here. And then it's going to add in some event listeners. Do I have that right? Okay, let's make sure. I'm going to purge my cache. There we go. Okay, test. Test accepted. What would you like to test? Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so that you can style that however you want. I think I'm going to call that good. This pretty much works. This is a chat widget. You include it with a well, it's 2 lines of code because you're including the styling and the JavaScript separately. You can style it however you want. You can make it look like more like intercom, or you can keep it like this. I want to know more about you, Jennifer. You can give it a name. From here, oh, it doesn't know who it is. Okay, so, all right, so there you have it. Right there, right then and there, with all of that said and done, you have an AI chat widget that you can insert into any website you want. We haven't trained it yet. We're getting there in a second. But for a lot of people, that's actually all they need. You can switch it. It was GPT 3.5 Turbo. You can switch it over to GPT-4, and it's basically just ChatGPT on a website. I mean, you could type in anything here. Write me a 100-word poem about honesty and make sure it is as good as any poem ever written. Okay, so honesty, thou art the noblest jewel in human hearts, thou rarest virtue. Anyway, the point is, yeah, you can totally use this to do however you want. Now, from here, there are 2 different ways to customize it to your business. The first one, as you can imagine, there is an easy way and there's a hard way. The hard way is cheaper, the easy way is more expensive. Which one you decide on is going to depend on your specific circumstances. So if you have a lot of data, if you have a huge wiki, if you've got lots of facts, if you have lots of information to draw from and you want the maximum customizability, you're going to go with the hard way, which is going to be way number 2 in this timeline here. If you only have a little bit of information, you want to make sure that your clients can get your pricing or your hours or your location, like really basic information, and you want to have the highest quality speech with the least amount of effort, you're going to want to go with method number 1. And method number 1, here it goes, is essentially just working that information into the prompt and using GPT-4. Now this is going to be more expensive if you go into the GPT-4 pricing. GPT-4, Google, let's see. GPT-4 pricing. No, sorry, this is. You're going to see that it's per 1,000 tokens, input is 3 cents, output is 6 cents. That compares with GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is way cheaper, 0.0015 cents per 1,000 tokens. You can see it's like a small fraction of the price. Now this is what we were using before for the chat. However, like this still isn't that expensive. If you only have like a few conversations a day, I mean, it's not gonna like, GPT-4 is not going to hurt your bank account. You know what I mean? And so what I have set up, or what I set up with the original one of these that I built, is I'll just go and grab it from my other website here, AI chat, right here. Is I just take GPT-4 and I build it into the prompt. So here's all of the information that somebody might need. And I put it into here. So I have full text, and it's like this. The actual message I want you to respond to is at the very bottom of this, denoted by actual message. So ChatGPT knows actual message is right here. This is the message that the customer sent, right? First, I want you to give some information. And sorry, I need to change this. This has to be the input message. So that's got to be that. And then we'll put this full text because that's the input message now. So you're a chatbot on lowassistance.com. It's the website of an outsourcing agency. Our prices are as follows. All plans, $250 sign up, 10 hours per week. It's just got all of our basic information, right? If anyone asks you how you compare with chat-based, I want you to tell them you're much better in a cheeky way. And so basically, this method right here, method number 1, is the easiest, fastest way to do it. And the price difference is really not that significant if you've only got a few chats a day. You're only going to be paying pennies anyway. But the primary problem with this method is that this right here, this message, you have to pay every single time that it gets sent. There's input, it's 3 cents per 1,000 tokens. And this is, I don't know exactly how many tokens, but let's just say for every message you're getting, you're paying a penny, something like that. As you can imagine, if you've got lots of messages, lots of customers and viewers, this can get very expensive very fast. But if you've just got a few viewers, if you just have a few readers that are trying to get basic information, this is a great way to do it. And if I were to do it right here, if I refresh this, how much does low assistance cost? Might want to put like a loading GIF or something, so I'm not like just wondering if you got my message. Just a modest $250 sign-up fee, and then the price gets better depending on how much you want to make your life easier. What a great way to say that. If you invest 10 plus hours a week with us, it's $11 per hour. Crank it up to 20 hours per week, we dip to $9 an hour. Hit the big leagues with $40 plus hours per week, and it's a steal at $8 per hour. Like a great wine, we just get better with time. You can start your process here. So every time it sends a message, it tries to direct you to contact.lowassistance.com, which is where you start the buying process, right? Method number 2, you're actually going to train ChatGPT on your data. With all my tutorials, I like to think that I can just write code with ChatGPT and not have to touch any code. In this case, in method number 2, that isn't quite accurate. there isn't a lot of information out there about how to do this yet. I can't just copy and paste like the blog article that OpenAI gives you on how to do this into ChatGPT and then like hope for the best. It didn't work. I tried, it didn't work. And so I did have to write this PHP code myself. But it is in the description below, so you don't have to write it yourself. You can just copy and paste it onto your own server, and you can run it however you want. So basically, I'm not going to go through how to write this code, and I'm not going to go through how to get it on ChatGPT. I am just going to give it to you. It's my gift to you. I hope you appreciate it. Basically, you are going to upload this information right here onto your server. Okay, before you go to ChatGPT, you're going to go into Google Sheets. You're going to create a spreadsheet of all of the information that you want to train ChatGPT on. I put it in question and answer. This is like a frequently asked questions. I actually had ChatGPT, I copied all of the information from my website into ChatGPT and said, come up with the frequently asked questions that somebody might be interested in with all of the information, and answered in a cheeky way. You can do something like that, or you can write the questions and answers yourself, however you want. You can also put more information in here that like trains it on the language that you want to use. Like if you want to make it cheeky or scientific or whatever, just make sure that you're using those types of answers in here, and any other information that somebody might need for your business, basically, like how you work, how you function, anything that goes in a wiki, anything that goes in an FAQ, anything at all that you want ChatGPT to be trained on or know the answer to needs to go in this spreadsheet, basically in this format. You have your CSV with your questions and your answers. I'm going to assume that you know exactly how to do this. It's an extremely tedious task, and I'm not going to walk you through it because that would just be pointless. It's specific to you, right? You're going to go ahead and do this exact same format: question, answer. Feel free to add more and more content. The more content, the better. I think I read something like between 50 and 100 entries is ideal. It has to be at least 10. The more you do it, the more it's going to learn, how you answer questions or how the questions should be answered. You're going to open up ChatGPT. This does have to be ChatGPT 4. You're going to go down and highlight Advanced Data Analysis. Press this plus button, upload that information, the CSV that you just created. And then you're going to paste this prompt in. It has to be exact. I played with this around and it is very unforgiving. It has to be perfect. Especially, this part is really what has to be perfect, but also the output that ChatGPT gives you has to be perfect. So basically we've got this. We're going to ask it to convert the CSV into something called a JSON-L file, which JSON is just a formatting with how programs talk to each other. Usually the APIs like the ChatGPT API, for example, exports in a JSON format. JSON-L means that each JSON object is in one line. So this, I know it looks like it's on 3 lines, but this is on 1 line. There's no break, right? You can change, what you want to do is you want to change this right here. This is like not the prompt per se, but like what the system user is or whatever. You are a sales info chatbot on Little Assistants' website. You give exceptional advice and always try to sell. And then this has to remain exactly the same. You can't change anything that's here. I put 2 entries in there to make sure it knows that there's more than one. You're a sales info, and this is exactly the same thing. It's just copy and paste. And then down below that, where question is replaced, into the following format, where question, this is question right here, is replaced by what's in the question column. That's this right here, what's in the question column. And content is replaced by what's in the answer column. So content is right here, and that should get replaced with what's right here. And then we're going to go ahead and hit enter. Okay, we're going to go ahead and download that JSON-L file. Oops. Okay, and so we're going to upload this to our server. Converted data. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. That was an old one that failed. We're going to we'll call this one output.jsonl. You don't have to change the name if you don't want to. We just need to make sure that it matches up when we're calling it over here. So this is our index.jsonl. output.jsonl. Sorry, this is our index.php, output.jsonl. And then this is our output. So you want to make sure that these file names match. This is output.jsonl, that's output.jsonl. You're going to want to make sure that you replace your API key with, this will just be like if you're using my code right here, make sure that you put your own API key in there. This one won't work. I will have canceled it by the time you see this. Or will have deleted it, whatever. And then you also want to change this right here, the suffix. This is going to be like the name of your model. Little Assistants, I don't care if you call it Little Assistants, but you can change it to your business name if you want. This does have to be GPT 3.5 Turbo. That's one of the downsides of this method, is that it can only be trained on top of GPT 3.5 Turbo. You can't, I mean, you can do the older models, but you can't do GPT-4 just yet. That's hopefully sometime in the future you'll be able to. And then this right here. So when I was creating this code, I had a lot of errors with basically this will upload the file to ChatGPT and then it'll fine tune it. But I had a lot of errors where it would like try to fine tune it where the file hadn't finished like processing yet. And so this just ensures that it's had enough time to where it exists on OpenAI's servers. If you have a very big data set, you might want to increase this number. I'm not sure exactly what it takes, but that's my suggestion. Okay, so then actually I just want to double check, make sure this is okay, yeah, that's pretty much what's expected. Okay, cool. So then we're going to go ahead. This is where this file lives. It's actually index.php, but you don't have to write that. We hit enter, and that will take at least 30 seconds because we paused it for 30 seconds. But this sleep right here is basically paused, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. This right here means it's successful. Basically, there's nothing here telling us there was an error, so it was successful. And now we just get to wait longer. So the first 4 times that I have fine-tuned, that's what it's called, fine-tuned GPT 3.5, it took like between 15 minutes and maybe 30 minutes. But this last time took 6 hours. So I'm just trying to let you know that sometimes it takes a long time. Just bear with it. As long as you got that success message in the browser, the non-failure message at least, that means that OpenAI is working on it, right? Maybe there's a long queue. I don't actually know the reasons for why it took so long, but it was successful in the end. It just took a bit longer than I expected. So once you'll get by the way, you'll get an email when it's successful. So now that I have it, basically you can go and you can find it. This is the easiest way to find it. It's not the only way, but it's the easiest way to find it if you're a non-developer. You can go into your OpenAI account and then go into your playground. So if you have OpenAI over here, you're logged in. You click on an API and then you click on playground. And then you're going to go over here. It's going to be in your fine tunes. So mine was called Little Assistants. Little Assistants is also the name of the company, so Little Assistants is right there. But then the fine tune is actually called Little Assistants with these numbers, this code at the end of it. So I'm going to go into, I'm in my GPT AI writer / chat. Remember this is the chat. And we are in ChatGPT PHP. Okay, so this is no longer GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is now FT. It's the same thing as this over here. FT GPT /3.BWQ. Okay, so basically, once you have your correct model ID number, whatever this is called, there's only one step left, and that is, if you remember in the training data here, you took basically this is like a message that you trained it on, if that makes sense. This is a system message, and basically you're just going to go back here. First, you're going to copy this. This is basically just like several messages. It's easy. It's coding, but it's easy. You're just going to copy that code right there. You have to have the one that you're working on is the first message. This is the first message that comes through to any chat. You say role, and you're going to say role system, and then you're going to copy this right here. As you can see in your data, this is role system, and then that's the content. So this acts as sort of like a trigger. if that makes sense. That's the wrong file. We're going to replace the input message there. Make sure you don't have anything screwy, like because I'm using an apostrophe right there. We can use regular quotation marks if we need to. Oops, I didn't do it though. Quotation marks. And then make sure there's a comma after this first message. It's like every message deserves a new comma. Let's try this out. Give it a hard refresh. And let's see if it knows what low assistance is. When I did this before, when it was just normal ChatGPT, it said low assistance was like a cryptocurrency, something, trading something. So ChatGPT doesn't know what low assistance is. All right, think of low assistance like a rickety old bridge in the middle of an adventure-filled jungle. But instead of helping adventurers reach treasure, we help startups, so hoarders of digital riches, really. Okay, that was kind of funny, but it is reminiscent of like my training data, right? What on earth is low assistance? Well, low assistance isn't an award-winning hip-hop artist, if that's what you're imagining. It's a crew of super smart virtual assistants ready. Okay, so what do they do? Do you know those support superheroes that slide in right when you need them? Well, low assistance is like that, except they manage your chats, emails, and social media while you do your magic. Think of them as your own customer concierge, sneaking in more hours in the day. This is exactly what I wanted. And what I love about this is that this writing is way higher quality than GPT 3.5. Because if you remember, this was trained on ChatGPT 3.5, but the training data that I used was put out by ChatGPT 4. And I have to say, this is almost definitely higher quality than ChatGPT 3.5 could do on its own without having that high quality training data. So I do think that it gives you a lot of hope for what GPT 3.5, the trained version of it, can actually accomplish. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss any important videos. Ciao.